Hello everyone, welcome to PRATHAM Test Prep. I am Ashish Bhargav and welcome to each and everyone here for daily news analysis that we do from Monday to Friday at sharp 11:30 am. As we know that in newspaper analysis that we discuss the Hindu and Indian Express especially, but we cover all the important news from all major newspaper covered in this session. And I say happy new year to each and everyone, and I pray to God for your happy and prosperous life. And this new year brings your new hope, and we can say the journey you have started for your exams that must be fulfilled. And I pray for the God for the same. So, in daily news analysis, we discuss about international news, economy-based news, sports-based news, science and tech, personal news, summits and conference, miscellaneous, which means like kind of any award section is there, and that we discuss national news and international news. And apart from that we discuss about any Supreme Court verdict, which is very important for especially for the law entrance exam, and any state initiative as well. So state initiative is also important because sometimes they will ask you and which state taken initiative for this one, like is the very first state taken initiative for any schemes and any kind of initiatives. So that is also used to ask. And as we know that if your voice is high, only a few people will hear. If your thought is high, then many people will listen. And to inculcate this thought process, you need to develop to read the newspaper on a daily basis. And just one small positive thought in the morning can change your whole day. That the quote of Dalai Lama. Study hard, no matter if it seems impossible, no matter if it takes time, no matter if you have to up all night. Just remember that the feeling of success is the best thing in the entire world. Now we have taken initiative questions of the day that we will discuss at the end of the session. We discuss about questions of the day. Here is the very first news. Women break new ground in MC Narega. Then the very first time that you need to understand first like what is MC Narega is, which is basically is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. So basically this is for the unskilled worker. Make sure the important takeaways for the exam is this is for the unskilled workers. And second thing that we can say that third thing that 1/3 is must be a woman in MC Narega. So the proportion of women's work participating in MC Narega and has touched the 10 years, the financial year 2022 and 2023. So according to latest statistics available with the Union Rural Development Ministry, because MC Narega comes under Ministry of Rural Development. So ministries clearly say that 57.8% of the workers who use this scheme this year were women, and the highest level of participation since 2012 and 13. So on the 15 states we can say Kerala, Bihar, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Chhattisgarh, Telangana, Odisha, Jharkhand, Assam, Gujarat and Uttar Pradesh. So only exception is Kerala, where the drop is many years, and we can say for the past 5 years in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, women's share is MC Narega workforce has been covering, we can say 85% to 90%. So only the things you need to remember: the full form of MC Narega, and it is for unskilled worker, and 1/3 must be women, and this comes under Ministry of Rural Development. Moving further, the next news is India must build awareness on population control. And why this is important to know, because the many facts in this article which is very important for your perspective of your exam. So early in December, 2 members of Parliament of Bharatiya Janata Party, Ravi Kishan and Nishan Dubey, introduced the Lok Sabha, a private members bill aimed at the population control in India. Right? So India was among the first nation to address its population problems as early as 1951. So very first time we have taken initiative in 1951. And as we know, 1951, why it is important, the very first time in our country the election was held. After independence, election was held in 1951, And second thing that we can say that, and this year that we have started the first 5-year plan as well, first 5-year plan. So we can say that this awareness program is for the raising awareness about the ills of overpopulation. And we can say, while there has been a significant rise in India population, there has been also been a sharp decline in India total fertility rate, TFR. TFR in 1950, TFR was around 5.9%, 5.9%, and now 2%, which is, we can say, fifth round of National Family Health Survey NFHS data. There was a step decline after the 1970s, indicating an inversely proportional relationship between economic prosperity and fertility rate. So why there is a political debate, we not need to go into too much depth, because as we know that in 2022, why these problems and why the things is going to discuss in the parliament, the reason behind, 6 months before in 2022, Uttar Pradesh assembly election, so Yogi Adityanath government and the state law commission of Uttar Pradesh came a draft bill, that Uttar Pradesh Population Control, Stabilization and Welfare Bill 2021. So population is a grave concern in the Hindu heartland, especially Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, but the suggestion were more political than practical. So we have to understand that why exactly the things is going, because India TFR is around 2% is even lower than the replacement level, and signifying a remarkable step in the population control parameters. It is clear that the India does not need a law for forced population control. And the External Affairs Minister, which is, we can say, Jai Shankar, also counted that the need for such a law by saying forced population control can have very dangerous consequences. It can create a gender imbalance. Forced population control measures have not shown promising results in the countries that have implemented them. The most relevant example, that is India immediate neighbor China. So one child policy has proved to be disastrous, causing a demographic imbalance, and the population of China is aging faster than in any other modern country, owing to the policies of forced population control. So that we cannot implement in our country. So in our country, that needs to adopt population control measures, but the focus should be on the strengthening public health infrastructure and raising awareness about the need for population control, right? So among these trends, implementing forced population control can only be a negative consequences. So this is all about the article is talking about. So moving further, the third one. So the stage is set for the digital banks. So as we know that the Niti Aayog, what is the Niti Aayog? Niti, which means National Institution for Transforming India. National Institution for Transforming India. Niti Aayog. Earlier it was known as Planning Commission. So the Niti Aayog published a discussion paper that digital banks are approved for the licensing and regulatory regime in India. So according to expert committee like micro, small and medium enterprises report submitted to the RBI 2019, that was says that like 63.38 million MSME in India. MSME, which means that we can say that a small industry, medium sector, micro enterprises. So the contribution of GDP is, we can say, 28% of MSME sector. That's why government have taken many initiatives to boosting the MSME sector after the COVID time. The main plan of the Niti Aayog advocacy of fulfill the digital banks and the lack of credit preparation and among MSME sector. Now we need to understand one more thing, is that the digital banks are best suited to use new techniques like artificial intelligence, AI tools, and we can say that these technologies allow banks to move from traditional funding methods to the collateral and advance to the flow lending. And the government backed National E-Commerce Service Limited NECL through the digital document execution DD platform has started digitizing the bank also. The infrastructure for digitizing service to financial service already exists, and what remains to be a connect to does with the digital banks. So digital banks is basically that MSME for the promoting of MSME, and digital banks is very important if the rural area will get benefited also. Now, moving further, is third article is talking about how will the free food grain scheme work. So, what amount is the government going to spend? Are there enough stocks of what wheat and rice? How will it impact state with already provide free grains? So basically, in the cabinet decisions, the center decided to provide 5 kg of free food grains per month for the 81 crore beneficiaries of the National Food Security Act, which is NFSA. We have discussed many times in newspaper analysis that what exactly is NFSA, and during 2023, rather than charging then a subsidized amount of rupees 3 a kg of rice and rupees 2 kg of wheat and rupees 1 kg for the core cereal is the currently done, because this is done by the PDS system, which is known to be a public distribution system. So this will soften the blow of the termination of Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, which has provided the additional 5 kg of grain every month of NFSA, National Food Security Act beneficiary, after being launched an emergency measures in the response of COVID-19 pandemic. And what is the impact of these measures on the food subsidy bill? So in the normal year COVID disruptions, the center food subsidy bill on account of the NFSA, which is National Food Security Act, amounted around 2 lakhs crore, and the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana, which is effectively double than some of the past 2 years. So what does it mean for the food grains stocks? So experts pointed out that the move will and even more than a relief for the stressed food grain stocks, and the annual food grain requirement of the NSMA is around 20 lakh ton. And the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana is additional to 480 lakhs tons according to the Food Ministry official data. So in 2022, however, the situation is different. Rice and wheat harvest have been lower this year by we can say because of climate events and fertilizer shortage in some areas, and this will result the global stress due to the Russia-Ukraine war, and also led to the situation of food grain inflation. So India wheat stock in particular have dipped dangerously close to the required buffer stock levels, and the center resorting, we can say, ban on the export to ensure the food security of the domestic market. Now we need to understand one more thing, is that what are the political implication, which is not need to be understand, but we have to understand that why the parties are going to discuss, because the many states as not fulfilling the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana, they are not implementing. And one more thing is that leaving aside government budget, household budget could be upended by the move, and the Right to Food campaign estimates that the poor families will be the forced to spend rupees 750 to 900 a month to access the current level of ration entitlement. And ration card holders who have received a 10 kg of grains a person every month for the past 2 years will see the entitlement abruptly halved. Of course, the expenditure of the NFSA, which is National Food Security Act, entitled will also be down, because in the many states they are not implementing. So the increased expenditure will be even more stark of those in states in which away provide free NFSA ration card. Now moving further is Tamil Nadu government set up a Nilgiri Thar conservation project. So what exactly this is? Nilgiri Tahar is also known as Nilgiri ibex. It has been listed endangered by IUCN. It has been listed under Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, which provides absolute protection, and offences under these are prescribed the highest penalties. The adult males of Nilgiri Tahar species developed a light grey area or saddle on their backs and are hence called saddlebacks. It is the state animal of Tamil Nadu. It is found in open mountain grassland habitat of rainforest ecoregion. It is endemic to the Nilgiri Hills and the southern portion of the Western Ghat. After 2020 COVID blip, road fatalities in the rise. So number of road accident deaths in 2021 was 1.9% more than 2019, and the government reports road accident severity in the number of people killed in 100 accidents. As we can see, 2016 data and here 2021 is 1,42,163. The fatality due to road accidents resumed their upward trajectory after a real decline in 2020 due to restrictions on movement during the COVID-19 lockdowns. Road accident, we can say lockdowns, and road accident that's increased by 1.9% in 2021 from the 2019 figure, and the total of 4,12,432 road accidents were reported in the country last year. So Uttar Pradesh, that is accounted of, we can say UP have a largest share of fatalities of 13.8%, and second by we can say Tamil Nadu 10%, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, because if any states having the maximum highways. So as we can see that among road users, the most impacted were two-wheelers users, and who counted 40.7% of the deaths, followed by pedestrian by 16.9%. So UP having, where we can say that it's accounted largest share of fatalities of 30.8%. So if states have many highways, and government should need to tackle such things to avoid the road accident. So according to latest Lancet study, step to check speeding can save 20,000 lives annually in India. An intervention focusing on 4 key risk factors such as speeding, drunk driving, non-use of crash helmets, and seat belts could prevent 25 to 40% in 13.5 lakh fatal road injuries worldwide every year. What are the key highlights? So according to the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways 2020 report, that was a total of 1,31,714 deaths due to road accident in India. So many reasons for non-wearing of helmets, non-use of seat belts cause 11.5% of death. And the road transport is the dominant mode of transportation in India in terms of traffic share, in terms of contribution of national economy as well. Next is your Eklavya teachers to receive training in computer science. What is it that comes under Tribal Affairs Minister, and who is our Tribal Affairs Minister is Arjun Munda. Arjun Munda is our Tribal Affairs Minister. So what is the Eklavya model is? So Eklavya Model Residential Schools, which is in short we can say EMRS, it is a scheme for making model resident schools for Indian tribals. So Eklavya Model Residential Schools is only for the Indian tribals, which is scheduled tribes across India. It started in the year of 1997-1998. And the Eklavya Model Residential School in Shinde, which is Nashik, has been planned by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs to give impetus to quality education in nearly tribal areas. And the EMRS schools follows the CBSE curriculum, and Eklavya Model Residential Schools are being developed to impart quality education to tribal students with an emphasis on not only academic education but all-round development of tribal students. And at present there are 384 functional schools span across the country established as per the Navodaya Vidyalaya, with focus on special states on the art facilities for preserving local art and culture, besides providing training in sports and skill development. So the important takeaways for the exam: the Tribal Affairs Minister is Arjun Munda, and Eklavya teachers is for the which people is only for the scheduled tribe, not for the other backward caste, not for the scheduled caste, and not for the UR, which is unreserved caste. And it was started in 1997-1998, and the EMR follows the CBSE curriculum. So what are the objectives of EMRS? The comprehensive physical, mental and socially relevant development of all students enrolled in each and every EMRS. Seek to empower students to be change agents beginning in their schools. Focused differently on the education support to be made available for those in standard 11th and 12th, and those is 6th and to 10th one. And it's supposed to annual running expenses in the manner that offers reasonable remuneration to the staff and upkeep to the facilities. 18 deaths due to the syrup made by Indian firm Uzbekistan. So the Health Ministry of Uzbekistan on Tuesday said 18 children with acute respiratory disease have died from taking excessive dose of cough syrup, Doc 1 Max, manufactured by Marion Biotech, an Indian firm. So India Health Ministry officials said they were aware of the report of Uzbekistan but declined to comment. So now what are the related regulation in India? Drug and Cosmetic Act, which clearly said at 1940 and Rules 1945 has entrusted various responsibilities to central and state regulators for regulation of drugs and cosmetics. And it provides the regulatory guidelines for issuing license to manufacturing Ayurvedic, Siddha, Unani medicines. It is mandatory for the manufacturers to adhere the prescribed requirement for licensing of manufacturing units and medicine, including proof of safety and effectiveness and compliances with the good manufacturing practices. So next one is FDI, chasing service sector despite manufacturing push. As you know that in our economy is based on three sectors. One is primary and secondary, and third one tertiary. Primary sector is mainly for the agriculture, secondary is for manufacture, and third one tertiary is for the service sector. And we are lagging behind in second one is become secondary sector. So despite the center high octane push for the manufacturing through the Make in India initiative, foreign investors continue to chase bets in the service sectors. India Rating and Research said on which is recently. So FDI in manufacture grew slower in the same period. Within service, trading, telecom, banking, insurance, business outsourcing, and hotels, tourism have been favorite. So we can see this comes under the third one, tertiary sector. So computer software and hardware did well. Sectors saw more fraction our PLI. So what is FDI? So foreign direct investment, basically in an investment in the form of controlling ownership in a business in one country by an entity based on another country. It is thus distinguished from a foreign portfolio investment by a notion direct control. And what is FPI? So FPI in economies, foreign portfolio investment is the entry of funds into a country where foreigners deposits money in a country's bank to make purchase in the country's stock and bond markets, sometimes for the speculation. We first need to understand what is the difference of FDI and FPI. So FDI and FPI, it is a long-term investment. It is generally a short-term investment. Investment in a physical assets of FDI, investment in the financial assets. And what is the aim of FDI? To aim to increase enterprises' capacity or productivity of change management control. And what is the aim of FPI? Is aim to increase capital in availability. And FDI leads to technology transfer, access to markets and management inputs, and FPI results in only capital inflows. FDI flows into the primary markets and FPI flow into the secondary market, which is, we can say, manufacturing market. So entry and exit are relatively difficult and entry and exit are relatively easy. FDI is eligible for profits of the company and is eligible for capital gain. Does not tend to speculative and tends to speculative. So direct impact on employment of labor are wages and no direct impact of employment, labor and wages. This is the main difference of FDI and FPI. Nepal politics. So in general, elections in Nepal that were held in November passed off peacefully, but the prospect for the, we can say, neither of the two electoral coalition has managed to in Nepal politics. What exactly is the things is going on? So general election that was held in November, and we can say stable government remains elusive. Neither of the two electoral coalitions has managed to secure a clear majority. Maoist leader, we can say Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda, who had been broken up with the United Marxist-Leninist UML in 2020 and joined the Nepal Congress led coalition. So messy transitions is over there, and we can say that Nepal transition from a monarchy to a republic began in 2008. And Nepal has had three NC Prime Minister, GP Kotarika, Sushil Koirala and MD DUJAT twice, two Maoist Prime Minister, Prachanda twice, and we can say Baburam Bhattarai, and three Prime Minister in a political fluid environment, we can say. So in 2008 election saw emergence of two new political actors, Maoist, who had come overground after raising the decade-long insurgency, and Madhesis. So Madhesis issues and the spearheaded the call for the federalism. So what is the India role in that? That is the Nepal politics. So it's a time to political instability with Nepal. Politicians started looking for the convenient, scapegoat for the foreign interference, and India was conspicuously missing during the elections campaign. And the Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the first to congratulate Mr. Prachanda on the appointment after 2018. So in the recent years, India has lost ground in Nepal by focusing on project implementation. Since 2002, Jayanagar and Bardivas. Jayanagar is in somewhere a place in Bihar, the district of Madhubani. So Jayanagar Bardihas railway started with India providing technical support, and 2019 a long-awaited Motihari and Amilkganj oil pipeline was inaugurated. Motihari is a place in Bihar, and power generation Nepal has picked up. So agreement to export 36.4 megawatt signed in the June has yielded export in $360 millions in 2022. So according to Nepal Electricity Authority, the figure could quadruple to 2023 with the 900 megawatt. And we have to understand that some issues that needs to be resolved, and foremost the demonetized Indian currency issues pending since 2016, and talks between two central banks need a political nudge. And the second is that the recruitment for the Gurkha regiment held up since the launch of the Agnipath scheme. So this is the India's role and election result of 2022. Now moving further to the next news. So as we can see, India-Nepal relation. Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda was sworn as the Nepal new Prime Minister. It was believed that debut preceders of KP Sharma Oli was in pro-China, and the coming together of communist force is a turning back of the clock for India. After the bitterness in ties during oil terms in the office of 2015 and 16 and 18 to 2021, India-Nepal relation improved after Juba became PM in 2021. So what is the mean for India that we have already discussed? So Prachanda has in the past said the new understanding with India needed to develop on the basis of change scenario in Nepal, and after addressing all outstanding issues between the two countries included revision of 1950 friendship treaty and resolving Kala Pani and Sasta border disputes among others. So what are the challenges that we have all discussed? In the recent year, Nepal has drifted away from the India influence, and China has gradually filled the space with investment, which in aid and loans. So China considers Nepal a key partner is a Belt and Road Initiative (BRI) and wants to invest in Nepal infrastructure as a part of its grand plans to boost global trade. So here we can see there's a border dispute. So Nepal Parliament has a new map which show the places like Limpiadhura, Kalapani and Lipu Lake, including the strategically important Lipu Lake Pass, which is in the Uttarakhand Pithoragarh district, a part of territory. So Nepal map is showing that some parts of this one is known to be a part of China, part of Nepal. What is the proposal to ban the sale of single cigarettes? So ban of loose cigarettes and increase the taxes of old tobacco related products were some of the recommendations by Parliamentary Standing Committee on Health and Family Welfare. So according to Lancet, about 7 million annual deaths can be expected to 2030 from low and middle income countries due to smoking. So single sticks being more economical can appeal to youngsters who may have limited money in the hand. Single sticks are also preferred by people who are yet to pick up the habit but want to try it out. So we will discuss in details because there are many consequences of single use of cigarettes. So the Parliament of Standing Committee on Health and Family Welfare in the latest report about cancer management, prevention and diagnosis recommendation that the government institute a ban of the sale of single stick of cigarettes. Now we have to understand. So the tobacco epidemic is one of the biggest public health threats to the world has ever faced, killing more than 8 million people a year. As per the World Health Organization data, on 1.2 million deaths from exposure to secondhand smoke. Nearly 1 in 4 people across the globe use tobacco. So all forms of tobacco are harmful as there is no safe level of exposure to tobacco. Cigarette smoking is most common form of tobacco use worldwide. Other tobacco products is water pipe tobacco, various smokeless tobacco products like cigars, cigarillos, roll your own tobacco pipe, BDs and crackers. So tobacco use is a major risk factor for many chronic diseases including cancer, lung disease, cardiovascular disease and stroke. If you talk about status in India, in our country, 38% men and 9% of women above 15 years of age use tobacco product as per the National Family Health Survey data. So, women in 90% women belongs to scheduled tribes are more likely to use tobacco than any other caste and tribal groups. So, among men as well as women, the use of tobacco is higher in rural areas. 43% for the men and 11% for women than in the urban area. So as we can see, जो गांव के लोग हैं वो ज़्यादातर आपको tobacco का product use करते हुए दिखेंगे. So this is the socio-economic burden of tobacco consumption. And tobacco use contributes to poverty by diverting household spending from basic needs such as food and shelter to tobacco. It is a major cause of deaths and disease in India and accounts for nearly 1.35 million deaths every year. And India is also the second largest consumer and producer of tobacco. So we need to remember this data is a second largest consumer and producer of tobacco. First one is obvious China. So variety of tobacco products are available at very low price in our country. So what is the global initiative to curb the use of tobacco? WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. It was developed in response to globalization of the tobacco epidemic and evidence-based treaty that reaffirms the right of all people to the highest standard of health. India has adopted tobacco control provision under WHO FCTC. World No Tobacco Day that was observed 31st of May to observe World No Tobacco Day every year to spread awareness around the deadly effect of tobacco consumption. And India initiative is COPTA, which Cigarettes and Other Tobacco Product Act 2003. It replaced the Cigarettes Act 1975, largely limited to statutory warning. And cigarette smoking injurious to health to be displayed on the cigarettes marks and advertisement. It did not include non-cigarettes. And 2003 Act that was included cigars, bidi, chedhoots, pipe tobacco, hookah, chewing tobacco, pan masala and gutka. And the promulgations and the prohibition of electronic cigarettes, Ordinance 2019, it prohibits production, manufacture, import, export, transport, sale and distribution, storage and advertisement of e-cigarettes. And the third initiative that we can say, National Tobacco Quit Line Service. Tobacco Quit Line Service, they have potential to reach the largest number of tobacco users with the sole objective to provide telephone-based information, advice, support and referral to tobacco cessation. India must build awareness on population control. We have already discussed this article in the very beginning. Failed to attempt a decriminalization. So basically, a Jan Vishwas bill that was passed, Jan Vishwas Bill 2020, that was tabled in the parliament with the objective to decriminalizing 183 offences across 42 legislation and enhancing the ease of living and doing business in India. So there is no outcome till now. So once there is any outcomes will be, then we will discuss in the very detailed manner. Now, because the Jan Vishwas bill is the Union Minister of Commerce and Industry introduced the Jan Vishwas Amendment of Provision Bill. And the bill promotes ease of doing business by decriminalizing minor offences in 42 acts administration by 19 ministries. So it purports to decriminalize many minor offences by replacing them with monetary penalties. And the unique feature of the proposals is to increase of 10% of minimum amounts of the penalty and levy it after the expiry of 3 years once the bill becomes a law. Next one is green hydrogen. So as we know, the green hydrogen is a renewable energy that is created using solar and wind power, and that process that we have already discussed in the previous sections. As we can see that IRENA, which is we can say International Renewable Energy Agency, hydrogen will make up 12% of energy mix by 2050. As we know that it's a great fuel. It's a second alternative fuel after diesel and petrol. And if green hydrogen is produced by electrolysis of water using renewable energy like solar and wind and has a lower carbon footprint. Now it's time to questions of the day. Here's the very first question. Bomb cyclone, which was in news recently, is a cyclone that is unpredictably more intense than would typically be anticipated, could have negative effect. A cyclone that is unpredictably more intense than would typically be anticipated and could have negative effect. a powerful tropical cyclone that develops in Atlantic Oceans of the northeastern Pacific Ocean. A storm that develops quickly and occurs when the air pressure decreases by 20 million bars in more than 24 hours period. So D was the right answer. A bomb cyclone is simply a storm that intensifies very rapidly, and bomb cyclones from an air near Earth's surface rise quickly in the atmosphere, triggering a sudden drop in biometric pressure at least 24 million bars within 24 hours. Moving further to the next one. In a tropical cyclone, as you move from the edge towards the center, the air pressure remains constant, increase significantly, decrease significantly, varies depending on the wind speed and direction. So the tropical cyclone, the rapidly rotating storm which is in the such directions, we can say, and that this one is considered as an I, by low pressure center. So on Earth, the pressures recorded at the centers of tropical cyclone are among the lowest ever observed at sea level, and at the center of mature tropical cyclone, air sinks rather than rises. For a sufficiently strong storm, air may sink over a layer deep enough to suppress cloud formation, thereby creating clear eye. And if the air pressure is high at the center and the low at the edge, the anticyclone is formed. So that's why C is the answer. Here is the following Indian states share borders with Nepal. So there was a Nepal, there is political instabilities over there. So there is a chance to have a questions to ask. So which of the following Indian states have shares border with the Nepal? Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Assam. Obvious, the answer would be first, second and third, because Assam has no border with Nepal. So C is the right answer, with an area of 147,181 square kilometer, 1,47,181 square kilometer, with a population 29 million. So Nepal shares border about 1,850 kilometer with the 5 Indian states. Make sure India share maximum borders with the Bangladesh. And states like Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal and Sikkim. So here we can say Nepal, we can clearly see in the map is Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Sikkim, and we can say West Bengal. So these all 5 states having border with the Nepal. And the fourth one, Losar festival, is celebrated in which of the following states? Gujarat, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, none of the above. So PM extended the greeting of occasion of Losar festival. It consists of offering prayers, dance and songs in the honor of Ibex and the pilgrimage of Mount Kailash. Losar is the Tibetan word of New Year. Ladakhi Buddhists make a religious offering before the deities in the domestic shrines or in the gompas. It was developed in pre-Buddhist era. During the 4th century AD, the Bon religions, indigenous religious tradition, the Tibet practiced the burning of license. When the Lord Buddha arrived in Tibet, the rituals was combined with the harvest celebration and the Losar festival was born. And the last questions of the day is the famous 11-day long Dhanu Jatra, considered the largest open-air theatre of the world, is celebrated in which states? Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra and Odisha. So option D is, we can say, right answer. Dhanu Yatra festival, which is also known as Jatra, considered the world's largest open-air theatre, has commenced recently in western Odisha town of Badgarh. So Dhanu Yatra is a play in the festival start with the dethroning the Emperor Ugrasen of Mathura by the angry Kans over the marriage of his sister Devaki with Vasudev. The festival is concluded with the death of demon king Kans and restoration of the throne of Ugrasen. And with the commencement of festival, Badgarh becomes the king Kans Mathura, and Amapali, located about the 8 kilometer away, becomes the Gopapura, where Lord Krishna is said to have spent his childhood, and the Jira river, which flows between the two places, become the Yamuna river. So this is all about the session, dear students, and I hope you enjoyed this session a lot. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section, and I hope that you enjoy the in this year very first YouTube session on Pratham Test Prep YouTube channel. And if you are new in this channel, please subscribe and do not forget to press the bell icon so you will get the notification of all our Pratham Test Prep mentors. Stay tuned. We'll meet you tomorrow at the same time at 11:30. Bye bye and take care. अपना ख्याल रखें. मिलते हैं कल इसी टाइम में 11:30 में. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for joining with us. Bye bye.